But I know the DJ.
Do you?
Welcome to episode 6 of But I Know the DJ, a podcast discussing all things DJing, music, nightlife, business, and pop culture through the unfiltered opinions of hosts. Snacks powered by Dope Entertainment and our sponsor, Anchor. First off, I'd like to shout out our Black-owned business of the week, Life's Crazy clothing brand founded by a homie of mine, Bryce. Their mission, connect to those who experience the unexpected, the unpredictable, and the crazy in life. Life's Crazy is a phrase said in that wow moment that can come in any situation. Check out their IG as they have begun launching their brand at lifescrazy_ and tell them Snacksy sent you, all right? And now I'd like to introduce our guest today, the first official DJ episode here. I've been working on diversifying the guests and I'm keeping shit wavy, but we finally got another DJ where we can nerd out, compare experiences, and just talk about music. I know it's crazy how in episode 6 we finally get a DJ. However, we tried to do this episode before.
Yeah.
So this is actually the second time I've had this guest here. But audio got compromised, as DJs know very well. We can't always depend on technology. It will always find a way to fuck us. But today we have a real veteran, 25 years in the game. DJ Case, a former 103.3 Amp Radio Mix Show DJ and a regular Sirius XM guest DJ, open format DJ, influenced by the works of DJs like AM, Funk Flex, Rectangle, Kid Capri, Lil Jon, and Vice. Everyone, please welcome DJ Case.
What up? What's good?
In the building, second time. Second time's a charm, I guess.
This is like deja vu.
I know. And it's I appreciate you being an awesome sport, and
of course,
I
man.
hate wasting people's time. I hate when people waste my time. So
we had a good convo. Mm-hmm. We had a good conversation the first time.
Yeah, we really did, and it was awesome. And it was one of those. This is episode 6 now, and it was one of those that I think I know you the least.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. We've crossed paths tons of times. We follow each other for however long. We respect each other as DJs, but I didn't actually know you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And that was one of those conversations where it was like, damn, so many moments where I was like, oh shit, I didn't know that. and just like learning more about you and, your 25-year career versus my 7-year. Like for me, that's a lot of eye-opening stuff hearing you say. And that's, when I pick my guests, a lot of DJs have been like DMing me like, oh, let me get on the podcast. And I'm like, what
do you got to talk about?
Yeah. Like,
there's always something to talk about, man.
Yeah. Well, the thing is just at this stage with, a new podcast, like I want to make sure if it's not educational, it's at least somewhat informative. Gives a new perspective, or is at least just super entertaining.
Right.
And, again, that's why, like last week I had Jason from Bodega.
Okay.
Nice. So giving the full managerial perspective, how restaurants are, adjusting. Mm-hmm. And it was a really, really great episode. A lot of the feedback was, wow, I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah.
A lot of DJs were like, because we had a section of like, DJs are complaining about their rates now or whatever. And he went on this whole thing of like explaining why, and how DJs should like open their minds a little bit more, consider, stop being so me.
Mm-hmm.
That was an awesome episode. But excited to have another DJ here again.
Thanks,
and just
excited to be here again, for real.
And just, now I know. But just kind of give a good background, kind of where you started. Let people know if they don't know DJ Case, if they haven't heard you on the radio, if they haven't seen you at the residencies in downtown and everything like that.
I started in 95 officially. My first gig was in under 21.
Love it.
From then on, started doing clubs in Boston. After that, did under 21 for like maybe 4 years before I started doing clubs in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of my first spots in Boston was Royale, which was
at the time
was
Roxy
back then. Yeah. So it was, it was pretty cool to go from doing on the 21s to doing it, something that was 18 plus back then, I guess it was.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, it used to be 18 plus. Yeah.
Damn.
Crazy.
So, because during my come up, it was all about, getting the chance. A lot of it was social media based. You know,
Yeah.
how can I make myself as official as possible when I wasn't even official?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At that time, social media didn't exist. Instagram
Yeah.
wasn't a thing. How do you get your foot in the door to get that first gig and then to be able to start launching your career at
Just
that time?
gotta nag the DJ, man, and that's what happened. That's what I did. I nagged the DJ. I just kept going to the place where I wanted to DJ, which was the under 21 at that point. And you know, just started asking questions, and next thing you know, he's like, you know what, like, you know, you wanna give it a shot. There you go, you know, and I had some experience at the time. Thank you.
Yeah,
You
what
know.
were those at the was it like local stuff or like house party stuff at the time? What were
Yeah, for the most part. Before that, it was mainly house parties, and you know, we all started the same way, man.
Yeah,
We're all
yeah.
back, you know, where we started.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah. It's
At the
humbling.
moment.
It's humbling, but I
Yeah.
find moments where I'm like, actually, I miss this. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And because we forget that sometimes the best parties are the bashments or like
Yeah.
are those like
Yep.
like I came up in like dorm parties in
Yeah.
college.
Yeah, I did.
And they were like stupid and like not glamorous at all, but they were some of the most fun
Exactly, man.
gigs ever.
You at the moment, you don't think about, you know, it being stupid. You just
Right.
thought about it as something that you're doing that you love, you know, and you don't really think about where your career is gonna go at that point. You know, you're just enjoying the moment,
Right.
you know, and that's what made it so good,
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
know, so fun.
What drew you to being a DJ at first? Was it
I've always loved music, man. I started doing house music, you know, at home.
Yeah.
Because it was easier to beat match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just you can follow the rhythm, follow the tempo, and just you learn how to beat match.
Right.
Then I got into hip hop, reggae. I loved reggae, man. You know, then got into reggaeton, and you know, like, and then top 40, and then, you know, mashups, and you know, everything else from there. You know.
While you list those genres, it's crazy because I'm thinking that so in the time period that you started and maintained and had been having your DJ career, it's touched some of the biggest moments in pop music.
Yeah.
Like for me, when I think of throwbacks, I think of the 90s or the 2000s, right? And I think that's the golden era of hip hop and R&B.
It was.
And you were very much living it.
Yeah.
And you saw it in real time.
Yep.
And then I think about, you said reggaeton, like what, 2003, 2004, 2005, when it hit the States.
When it became mainstream.
Yeah. You were at that point about 10 years in the game at that point.
Yeah.
And like, so you're very much established at that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's one of those things where it's like you have the grandpa that's like, yeah, I was in the war and this is what it was like. That like you were there.
I was.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, can you explain like just kind of like some highlight moments that?
I mean,
that you
highlight
still play
moments,
through?
I would say having, you know, being able to DJ concerts over at Wonderland Ballroom.
That's in
Revere.
Revere, right? Yeah. That's like a 1,000-person spot. Right?
Yeah. Lido's Wonderland, whatever you want to call it. I'm not really sure what it's called now. It's a pretty big spot, man. I mean, and it was all due to the fact that I was, you know, of the people that I was associated with. You know, friends that I grew up with that, you know, were into the same things that I was into. You know, my boy Super Duke.
Yeah, Super Duke. Yeah,
Super Duke. I grew up with Super Duke. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
crazy.
went to school with him.
Damn, that's
like
crazy.
I went to high school with him.
It's because so for me, I guess I'm not too familiar with like the events or the stuff that he's doing now. I think he's a big private event guy, right?
Yeah, he is. He does more Haitian events. Yeah.
But I knew it like once I started getting into the quote unquote urban scene in Boston, like I started seeing his name and a lot of his, and I was like, oh, this guy, you know, he's someone that just in terms of his booking pattern and the way he, you know, presents himself, he's someone I was like,
professional.
Oh, very professional.
Yeah.
Seems very tight and very popular and very likable. He was someone that I was like, yo, I like this. I want to be like that. And then at some point,
that's one aspect of the DJ game.
Yeah. And at some point I don't know who followed who first, but like, you know, once we got connected and I think we probably commented each other's stuff a few times, but he's another person that like you, like I don't know him.
Yeah.
But that's the beautiful thing about social media now, that we
you
can
get to
connect
know,
and you kind of see their grind and
right.
see their, where they are now. Like, it's crazy. Like, damn, now I'm thinking about it. Like, he's someone I would love to talk to as well.
Yeah,
just
you
like
should,
how
yeah.
he came up
Yep.
and like and before we really met and connected, for it was like, seeing you on the radio, seeing you at these big venues, and then I didn't even like, I knew you were in the game for a long time, but it wasn't until the first recording, the first recording where I asked you and you said 25
Damn,
minutes.
we lost that.
Yeah,
that was a good convo too.
The genuine reaction, I think I said, God damn, the genuine reaction of me realizing how long you've been DJing.
Yeah, so with Ham, DJ Shody, back then, used to do a lot of reggaeton stuff. So he was big on reggaeton stuff. So I used to do a lot of stuff with him. That's how I did a lot of reggaeton concerts and stuff. And with Super Duke, it was we did a lot of colleges, a lot of parties, a lot of private parties, and the under 21 as well.
Mm-hmm. So, college scene is like a huge avenue that.
Oh man, it was even bigger back then, bro.
I can't imagine, like, because when
that's what people used to look forward to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so I started my college career at Holy Cross in Worcester.
Okay.
And the Worcester nightlife scene is like you can kind of run through it pretty quickly.
There is.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, like for us, it was like these local like bars and pubs. And there were a couple places that were like clubs, but like I said, like in a semester, you could really get your fair share if you go out enough. Yeah. So it was all about the school sanctioned parties, and like again, this is where I started getting my reps,
right?
Being the DJ on campus, but before I started like making my name out there, I guess there was these school sanctioned parties that these clubs would throw, whether it be like the Caribbean Association or the Latin Club or whatever, and they would like, whoever was the president or whatever, like they just knew like the biggest, in New York or like or in Boston or whatever, they would get like the biggest dude and they would fucking throw it down, and that was at the time for Holy Cross it was Soundscape. I don't know if
I know Soundscape.
So and it's crazy because years later, me and Patrick, one half of Soundscape, became residents together. And it was one of those things where I was like, yo, this is a dude that I used to watch.
Right.
And like, again, like I said, about like same thing about Super Duke, same thing about you, where like I used to watch him and like be like, yo, that'd be fire if I could do this.
We all had someone that we looked up to, man.
Yeah. But speaking to him and Big Tunes and like these other dudes right now in the like who was recently killing the game, like these younger DJs, DJ Focus, DJ Dutch, big guys in like the Caribbean world, like they're like, yo, the big bread is like the college parties, and like that's where it gets crazy.
People don't realize that the Caribbean scene out here is big,
insane,
and it is because there's a lot of Caribbean people here.
And the thing is, like growing up, like I thought everywhere was like this. Like that's me single-minded. I don't leave Boston kind of thing until I started traveling.
Yeah.
It was funny when I got to Holy Cross. Like, there were people from outside of New England, and they were like, "Yo, like I just met this girl. She said she's Cape Verdean," and I was like, "Yeah, Cape Verdean. Like there's mad Cape Verdean in Boston." She was like, "I've never met someone from Cape Verde. Where is Cape Verde?" And I was like, "What?" And then I started realizing that like, yo, all the Cape Verdeans are in Massachusetts. You know what I mean? So it's one of those.
Cape Verde,
one of those.
They're amazing, dude. Amazing women, dude.
Oh yeah,
amazing
and they have really dope music too.
Yeah.
And so like when there was those Caribbean parties in Boston, like there was a section dedicated to the pasada and like the zouk, and it was funny because growing up, like I was like, there's all these other dances I gotta learn. Like I already had to learn bachata and merengue and all that stuff, and now I gotta learn pasada too to be able to dance with the prettiest girl in the room kind of thing. But it was interesting to see that regionally there's like you're saying, like Caribbean's huge here. Caribbean, like if you don't have a Caribbean crate, and you're trying to DJ in Boston, like you will probably get rashed on.
I've done soca, I've done Haitian, compa, like
I
have all those crates too, man, because I've touched on it, and calypso, like I've played all that, like and I got into it, when I was with Duke, and then I went to college. I went to Northeastern actually, so then I got involved in more in college parties and stuff, and like I realized how big that world was. And reggae was huge back then.
And it's important to adapt, right? Like if you see a lane, if you're like, yo, there's this, I just broke down this door and I see that there's this huge party community,
Right.
you would be stupid not to learn it.
Right.
And I meet so many DJs who, yo, Snacks, I see you know you're getting so many bookings here and here. How do you do that? I'm like, man, like, what do you play? Like, if I ask you what you play in a night, and they say like 2-3 genres that are all pretty much the same, it's all like pop music, and I'm like, that's your answer right there.
Yeah.
You know, if I list the top 5 like Afrobeat joints right now, and you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's your fault. Like, you have to.
Then I can't book you.
Yeah, like,
Like,
so
I
how do you
can't- yeah,
expect
yeah.
these places to
Yeah,
book you?
for real,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? Like, because if you bring this energy from this crowd, from this venue over to the other one, you're gonna get booed. You're gonna get rocked.
Oh yeah,
like,
100%.
You know, and that's the thing about like, you gotta have tough skin to be a DJ to be able to deal with the criticism.
Yeah.
There's always, I mean,
Oh,
even people as established as you,
Yeah.
like, every night you're gonna get someone that doesn't like you and
Oh
says
yeah,
you're trash. You know what I mean?
It's always happened.
Yeah.
You know, like there's always that one dude that comes to the club thinking that he's gonna hear this particular type of music and then doesn't hear it and just, you know, is just me mugging you the entire night. You know, like it just happens.
Especially at a place like Tunnel where it's so small that
Yeah.
like, you can really
like
feel them
you
staring
can just
at you.
they can come up to the booth, you know,
Yeah,
it's crazy. But yeah, you gotta have thick skin and you gotta know the environment that you're DJing.
Yeah.
You know, and you gotta know your crowd, you know, and that comes with time.
Yeah.
Honestly, you gotta to be able to read a crowd, that comes with time. Imagine doing that at a wedding.
Yeah, weddings are fucking
You know,
hard, man.
yeah.
I've only done a few,
Like
and they're hard.
they're
man.
hard.
And,
It's hard work. It is. At the end of the day, it's hard work. But you gotta know how to read the room. You gotta know how to read the crowd. You know, and that comes with time. That comes with experience. You know?
Yeah. I've only done like 5 or 6 weddings. One of them was a Dominican wedding. So
No, they're gonna come, dude. Like the more that people see you out, they're gonna be like, I want this DJ at my wedding.
yeah, I mean,
that's
don't get me
how
wrong.
it is.
Like, well, thing is, I love a challenge.
Yeah.
And the more reps I can get, the more people I can be in front of. That's great. But thing is, with something like that, so with this Dominican wedding, they're already. I feel like most Dominicans they know what they want.
Yeah.
So don't like get out of that.
Yeah.
And then the thing about it is, so you have the little kids running around. You have the bride and groom and their friends and what they want.
Yeah.
But then you have the tia that just came off the plane from Santo Domingo that doesn't know what's new. She just knows what she knows, and that's what she wants. She wants the deep cut. If you're from there, you're from there, you know. So when she's yelling at me, like, you gotta play this, like,
and that's that. You gotta know when to drop that.
Yeah.
Although
how to present it. How do you
how to-
balance
yeah,
the old,
exactly.
the new,
You gotta
the
know how
new
to do
school,
it.
the classics, like,
Yeah.
and it was one of those things where I was like, wow, like, I mean, it was stressful, but like, being like, damn, like, this is the biggest test.
Yeah.
Like, and I love gigs that I was like, wow, this was a test.
Yeah.
You know, what are some of those gigs that over your career, like, do you still get new moments where you're like, oh shit, like, I'm still being tested?
I'd say weddings, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Weddings are definitely challenging up to this date because you're dealing with so many personalities, you know, that you got to know how to read that and how to give them what they want because they're hiring you to be the life of the party or to provide the party, you know what I mean? And it's a one-time thing. There is no do-over. There's no, hey, come back next week.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
I'll be better. You know, it'll be better. You
That's
know,
so
like
true. So true.
It's weddings to me are pain in the ass, but it's a good challenge, much like you know. I would say those are the biggest challenge.
I'm talking to this guy, Todd Powers. He's big in the wedding game in Connecticut. He has his own, you know, wedding production DJ business, and I've been talking to him a lot. And he presented me this stat. I'm gonna butcher it, but it's like 80% of couples after the wedding is over wish they put more money into the entertainment.
Really?
Like after the fact.
Oh,
It was some stat like that. And I was like, oh, I don't doubt it. You know,
my price just went up.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's one of those things where like, and I've had these conversations in the few weddings that I've done where they're like, oh, that's a lot of money. And I'm like, you know, because the way I priced it was, you know, if it's a Friday or Saturday night, the cost and the opportunity cost of taking me away from a potential club that I would be doing, travel, equipment, time. And I'm just because, I mean, it can be because I'm cheap or whatever, but I always went solo, set everything up myself, blah, 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 blah. So I priced it a certain way, and they were like, oh, that's way too much. But then I'm like, yo, you don't understand how, and this is the DJ hyping up themselves kind of thing, how valuable it is. So when he showed me that stat, I was like, I'm glad that stat exists.
Well, you know what? As a DJ, you got to know that there is a business behind what you're doing. It's not just a it's not just a hobby.
Right.
You know, if you're going to succeed and try to be successful, there's a business behind it.
1,000%.
And you got to know your worth. And especially when it comes to weddings, you got to know your worth, because you got to let them know why it is that you're charging that much. You know, in some venues as well. Yeah. You know, you got to know what you're bringing to the table, you know, to the venue. You know, why should they book you? You know, why, you know, what does your brand represent? You know, did you build your brand, and do you have a brand that attracts people? You know, so there is always a business behind it that that DJs don't really get to think about as their career progresses. You know, that's something that we as DJs, we suck at that, man. We suck.
So focused on the music, not enough.
Yeah,
on
I mean, like
sometimes.
that's part of it. You know what I mean? Like even downloading music. How many hours do you spend downloading music?
I mean, I'm kind of wild. Like,
you know,
a week, 5 to 8.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say about 10 hours. Yeah, I'm about the same. You know,
I mean, it's weird now. Like, I'm thinking that because like I've obviously cut it a ton now.
Yeah, I have to.
But like, if I have like a 4 gig weekend coming up, I'm putting especially if they're all super different. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But that's part of your time.
It's the prep. Yeah.
You know, that's part of, you know, what you bring to the table.
Yeah.
You gotta, and you gotta know,
and you have to incorporate that into the price sometimes. Yeah,
exactly, dude. Like 100%, man. 100%. Don't be cheap.
Right.
You know, but also know your audience. You know, you can't just be like, oh, I want $5,000 at a wedding. That ain't gonna give you $5,000.
Right.
You know, just know what you're playing with.
Right.
You know, even including a venue as well. You know,
I have a couple questions just kind of coming out of this conversation here. One, so I'm gonna ask them both because I know that the tangents are crazy. So one is, can you think in your career moments, whether it be through a promoter or a venue, like you mentioned, that they were trying to cheap you out and where they felt that you think that your brand and your time is worth this, and they were saying that, just kind of talking about that, because I've put down some of my stories already on this podcast. I would love to hear another DJ's experience. And then two, speaking about a DJ who's developed their brand and knows their worth and everything like that, and then you have other DJs undercutting that and kind of messing up the market a little bit. I kind of want to talk about that as well. So we can start with just, in the past, maybe promoters or venues maybe being like, no, we only pay you this, even though you feel you're worth that.
Well, that's always going to happen, man. You know, someone's always trying to get a piece of the pie, unfortunately. You got to know when to stand your ground, your ground, just stand your ground. This is, just make them understand why it is that you are worth the money that you say you were worth, part of that goes into what we just talked about as well. Of course, that's happened to me a ton of times as well. And unfortunately, it also happens because there's always that one DJ that's trying to get in the game, and it's undercutting and
so now we're moving
messing
on
up.
To the next,
so it goes hand to hand. Unfortunately, but I think that we've all been there as well. Because we don't know, at one point in our career, we didn't know what our worth was. So if someone offered us a certain amount of money, we just took it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, take a step back and just realize that what you're doing is going to help you build. And what you're doing is helping to build your brand and helping to figure out how much money you should be charging. That's definitely happened to me, man. And unfortunately, there's times when you just got to walk away. It's just not worth it. And, maybe we'll cross paths at a different time.
Yeah.
That's just it. I mean, that, and sometimes they come back. Sometimes they don't, it just happens like that, man.
But I think there's a privilege in being in the position where you can
of
reject
course.
it. You know what I mean?
100%. But then I guess that person doesn't know the market either. So you got to educate that person as to what the market is calling for. What if he goes to another DJ with the same amount and then loses another DJ? Like,
yeah, I mean, what's happened to me is, and to you, I'm sure, a million times, and for those who aren't DJs or that are just listening, what we're talking about is like, so for me specifically, a promoter might come up to me and be like, okay, want you for this event. This is what the event's looking like. This is what I can give you.
Right.
And I'll be like, oh man, come on, that's way too low.
Yeah,
You know what I bring. I definitely hit a point, sadly, super early before COVID, like, or super close to COVID happening, that I was really on my, like, standing my ground. This is what I'm worth. Blah, 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 blah. It took time for me to understand that. And then they'd be like, oh well, I'm gonna check it with some other DJs and see who will bite. Like, basically, who will bite at that price. And I'm like, listen, you can do that.
Yeah.
But
you're not gonna get me.
Well, it's that. But the thing is, it's that.
Yeah.
And the confidence I have in myself with that. But I just know that there's a reason you called me first.
Yeah. Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there was an instance where I did that, and the person was actually worked with. They were like, you know what, like, you're right, and they did it, and they gave me an opener, and me being me, like, I like to be as professional as possible. Even if there's an opener and I can be there early, I'm still there on time, just having a drink, listening to everyone, watching the thing grow. And by like 11, the promoter came up to me and goes, yo, can you go on earlier? Like, I don't like this thing.
Wow.
And I say, this is why I'm worth this, because you were literally coming up to me to ask me to go on earlier.
Yeah.
I hope you understand what's happening here.
Yeah.
And then I go on, crush it, everyone.
Did you say that?
Yes, I said that. Yeah. And then at the end, this dude was like, hey, blah, 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 like, trying to give me a run. And I'm like, yo, no. I'm like, you saw what, like, the night crashing and burning right before your eyes. You saw it when the opener wasn't like, when people were complaining, everyone was sitting down, no one was fucking with it. I brought it home. Everyone had an amazing night. Everyone stayed.
Yeah.
And you made, like, you know what time it is, bro. Like, so I hope we all had a learning experience tonight.
Yeah.
So that next time you call me,
you know what it is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've also experienced where they're like, oh yeah, never mind. Like, I'll be like, hey, like, are we still doing business or no? Oh no, I got someone else who took the cheaper route.
Oh, good luck to them, man.
Yeah.
Not to say anything bad about other DJs. I'm sure they crush it too, but bro, like, at the end of the day, it's a business, man. It's a business. You're not doing. Why are you doing this? Are you doing it for the money? Or are you doing it to get ahead and to make this a career? Or are you doing it just for fun? Right. If you're doing it just for fun, then yeah, you're gonna take whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't want to knock on other DJs, but at least know your worth.
Yeah. How do you think the market's gonna look coming back? So let's say we're just talking before the recording that Pfizer's dropping a potential vaccine company. So the vaccine is on the horizon.
Yes.
I think it's gonna be a whole, I'd say, year of, like, testing, people wanting to wait to see if, like, you grow an extra leg if you take them. You know what I mean?
Zombies.
Yeah,
and shit,
yeah.
like walking around. Like, we'll see.
Yeah, I think people are gonna really want to wait. You know what I mean? So let's just say vaccine drops tomorrow. Everyone takes it the next day, and by the third day, the world is done with COVID. Right?
The world is not the same though. It's not the same as before.
So how do you think? So what do you think that picture looks like? And then just talking about whether it be rates or the market, how many DJs have quote unquote survived? How many venues survived? Yeah. What do you think the state of nightlife looks at that point?
The rates are gonna go down.
Just stay down.
They're gonna stay down for a little while. All these places that are closed or that are open right now, but they're not making the same amount of money that they were prior to COVID. So in a way, you can't really expect them to pay you the same amount of money. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, so I guess you gotta adapt, you know. And even though, you know, I guess that kind of backtracks what I said, you know, stand your ground and know what you're worth.
That's what I was gonna say. Does are we able to stand our ground at that point? Because I mean, yeah, like what you're saying, it's all relative, it's all adjusting. I mean,
well, don't drop your rates to the point where it's not even worth your time. You know what I mean? Why would you?
Yeah,
because you're still doing the same amount of work that you were doing before.
Right.
You know, don't bring your rates that low. You know, work with the venues that you were working with.
Mm-hmm.
But understand that you're still doing the same amount of work that you were doing before COVID.
Right.
You know? And, you know, COVID's going to be around for a while. I'm pretty sure. You know, even when, you know, the vaccine's around and people, and what if, you know, there's people that don't take it?
Oh, there's going to be plenty of people.
Yeah.
Well, I was just talking to Ado, the producer, and Phil, our editor and recorder over here. And we're just like, yeah, are you, if it drops tomorrow, are you taking it? You know what I mean? Phil said yes. Phil said yes. But Ada was like, no, I wouldn't. I would want to wait. You know, a couple people take it, see what happens. But like that's the funny thing is like everyone's like, oh no, we need a vaccine. I can't wait for there to be a vaccine. Need a vaccine, and then once it drops, like I think a strong percentage of people aren't going to take it.
Yeah. What about you? Are you going to take it?
Not when it first drops. No.
No.
I mean, I've been lucky enough to be good.
Yeah.
I'm surviving. I've been healthy. But you know, it's knowing that it's still going to be a long time before. Like it's not like, oh, I take it and then nightlife opens.
It won't be for us though. You know, when the vaccine comes out, you know, the people that are going to take it are the first responders.
Yeah, the healthcare workers,
you know,
and everything like that.
Then, you know, you got to take care of the older folks. So you got to make sure that they take the vaccine, and then, you know, the general population.
Yep.
So it's going to be a while until we actually see something, man.
Right,
you know, we're not in Florida. You know, we're not in Texas where these dudes, you know, these people are opening up, you know. Unfortunately, you know.
It's fucking crazy.
It is. It is. It really is. It makes me mad, but we're not in the same location, man. We can't expect the same thing.
It's weird because seeing Boston and like as a red state again, like in terms of just you know, spiking and everything like that, and I'm like, yo, but we're when you think about it, we're not doing half of what Atlanta's doing.
No.
You know what I mean? And that's what kind of annoys me.
Yeah.
You know, even despite us. Like, Atlanta's living literally as if there's not a pandemic going on. Yeah. And we're equal to them. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's all just a mess. I mean, no one can really understand it. No one can really wrap their minds around COVID.
Nah, man. And it's, you know, I'm not fighting the trend, dude. You know, I can't fight it. I can't be mad at it. You know, I'm not in control of what's going on. So I'm just going along with it, man.
Yeah.
And just, you know, occupying my time to find something else to do with my life. In the meantime, you know, while I'm still, you know, focusing on making sure that my DJ career stays alive. You know what I mean?
And
we all are.
And what we found, whether it be through our Facebook friends and their statuses or just what we're hearing through maybe closer DJ friends, is that there's some DJs that kind of put all their eggs in one basket. I'm a DJ. I'm a great DJ. I make all this money from DJing. I do the weddings. I do the college parties. I do the clubs. I DJ for God a couple times. Like, everything, like, I'm great.
Yeah.
And then an unexpected pandemic happens, right? And knocks everything out. How can, you know, whether it be moving forward or maybe adjusting now into a time where we have more time to be able to do more, how can DJs or even just entrepreneurs or even just people maybe not put all their eggs in one basket, bro, and be able to do other things?
We suck at financials. You know, we suck at finances. You know, because that money used to come every single week.
Yeah, fast money, bro. It was
fast money.
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
You know,
it was so beautiful. It was yo, and because you work a day job as well.
Yeah, I got a day job. I got a career outside of DJing.
Yeah,
and I've always had a career. Like Super Duke has a career.
Yeah.
In the same business that I'm in.
Okay, word.
You know what I mean? Like, a lot of my friends have careers.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why we we are where we are right now. And I'm not in a, I don't want to brag. I'm not going to say I'm in a great financial, situation, but I'm okay,
But it's interesting to hear because from someone who's had such a, I think, successful career, a long career, been able to maintain a long career, I feel like you're one of the first people that can be like, oh yeah, I can just drop my shit because I have proven that I can DJ for 25 years straight and do well and rock out, be relevant, make the money. And yet you're still here sitting, being like, we need to look at our money. We need to maintain other
bro, we suck at it.
Yeah.
Every single week we used to make money. We never really thought about how much money we got to save from those, from that money that we made. I'm not going to put out how much people made, because, you don't know who's listening to this podcast. But, you need to understand that you need to diversify yourself.
Absolutely.
Diversify your portfolio.
Absolutely.
I took on day trading while during the pandemic. Swing trading actually, which is a form of trading. I'm in real estate. Stuff like that. You got to keep educating yourself, and you got to know how money works because money, compounding interest makes money.
Right.
So you gotta know that having money and you having a way for that money to make more money for you is what you should be focusing on. Aside from the fact that you're DJing, you gotta understand that your brand is a business at the end of the day.
Right. Absolutely.
So you have to put money into the business, and you have to put money aside. And that's what a lot of us just haven't been doing.
Right.
Or we're not doing. I was one of the lucky ones who understood what money was.
At what point in your life or in career did that realization
happen?
Bro,
I've always saved money. From DJing, I have always at least $100, from each gig. I've always saved money. And that's allowed me to have what I have now. That's allowed me to invest in the businesses that I have now, because of that. And I don't know why it was instilled upon me that I needed to save money. I guess I've always been a frugal guy that just wants to, save money. And you got to understand that when you go buy a house, they're going to look at your credit, man.
Right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They're going to look at how much money you have in the bank as reserves to buy that house. You can't just be like, well, I have money next week. That's not how it works, man.
I got 3 club gigs next week.
Yeah.
I got a concert. I got a college party. Trust me, I'm good.
Those gigs are not around anymore.
Yeah.
So now it's a time for you to think about when those gigs do come back, what are you going to do with that money? How are you going to be able to save part of that money to make sure that it's invested well? Real estate is a great thing, and it doesn't have to be real estate here.
Right.
I don't invest my properties are not in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you mentioned that last episode.
Yeah.
You went more like Midwest, right?
Yeah, Midwest.
Yeah.
So they're not here, dude.
Right.
Because they're just too expensive.
Too damn expensive.
Yeah.
But it's it's right. The best investments are in real estate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And that's understand that that's long-term money. That's not gonna unless you flip the house and then there's different types of real estate.
That's front end money. That's like right there. That
right.
You get that most of us don't have.
Yeah, but that's different type of real estate. You can do flips, you can do rehabs, you can do long term. You're gonna rentals. I'm doing rentals. Because I'm worried about my. I'm thinking about my future.
Yeah.
I picked up day trading and swing trading. I taught myself how to do it because I wanted to think about my future.
Absolutely.
And
I think this is great to hear. Obviously you being the first DJ guest that we have here, we're gonna, we already talked about, and we're gonna talk about the music and the nights and stuff. But it's so important, and I'm glad that I have you here talking about this stuff, because especially guys my age, the newer DJs, you know, like you're saying, it was such fast money.
It is.
And you know,
100%. Even for me, I was like, yo, like, we're gonna spend $200-$300 on a Sunday at a brunch? Cool.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I got it.
But I think a lot of just people in general actually need to hear this in being more educated in finances.
Yeah,
and
bro.
seeing
Like,
other ways
and that's unfortunately they don't teach that in school. You know,
shit, right?
Unless you go to college. You know, I guess when I went to Northeastern, that's where I started figuring out how money works.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I think a lot of people will benefit from everything that you're saying. Do you have maybe, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but maybe some resources that people can check out maybe if they want to learn more about like swing trading or about real estate in general?
Yo, everything I've learned from YouTube.
YouTube University, let's go. YouTube University is the fucking shit.
Yo, 100%. And once you start watching one video, you know, YouTube starts recommending some other shit, and you're like, you go down the rabbit hole, man. 100%. But I honestly started just looking up day trading in YouTube,
right.
You know, swing trading, and,
just on a random day, and then here you are. Like,
I mean, bro, like we've had a lot of time.
A lot of time, yeah. That's true.
We've had a lot of time in our hands,
like
yo.
8 months now.
8 months in, yeah. In the beginning,
it's a whole pregnancy. We're almost there.
Like,
Jesus,
you know. Yeah, for real. How many of you are all out there 8 months pregnant? I want to know that.
full COVID baby. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I wonder. Weird tangent. I wonder if it's gonna be like you know, there's like baby boomers.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's gonna be a
COVID
dip,
boomers?
like a dip in births or a spike in births.
Ooh.
During this time.
Yeah.
Like, are
we're
people just like
8 months in? We'll find out next month.
Yeah. Are people just like bugging, or are people not being able to see each other?
I mean, you know, I don't know.
Right?
I don't know.
It's crazy how all this is going to be in
know.
a textbook in 20 years, and everyone's just analyzing all this random shit about everything.
COVID either made relationships or broke them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's funny because I was just talking to like Ado and our boy who's here as well. That we were saying that like a lot of people, you know, are looking for like Quarren Bay, you know, girl to quarantine with and stuff like that. But it's funny how are these people gonna act once everything opens up again? Oh my God, I just lost 2 years of whatever,
bro.
The dogs are out, baby. Like,
listen, you saw what happened in Miami, right? So Miami let the guard down. Basically, they
dropped the ball.
I don't know if they dropped the ball, but they just said, you know, we're gonna allow things to open up,
like fully.
Yeah,
100% capacity.
Yeah. Like 2 days later, it was shut down again. Right? It was like shut down again, you know, like because people are gonna wild out.
Yeah,
people are gonna wild out. People are just gonna go out of their way people have been cooped up at the house, man.
Yeah, it's fucked
up. Even for myself, I've been cooped up in the house, like you know, since the beginning. And you know, even though I do events here and there, and I've done weddings and I do brunches and stuff. You do brunches as well. It still ain't the same.
Nope.
It ain't the same. Nope. It's not the same feeling.
They can't get up.
You know?
No, they can't.
It's not the same feeling, bro.
That's not at all.
You know, so
it's I mean, I like it in some ways because, you know, you can play a little bit different stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%.
We can get funky, and that's fun, but, yeah, I mean,
how many times are you going to get funky and you're going to be like, oh, yeah, come on, I want to turn up right now. You
yeah,
know, like,
it always leads to something else, but then you're like, wait, got to bring it back down because now we're getting a little too lit, even though, like, it's the warm-up.
There's no bottle service going around, you know, like, you know, there's no bottle girls in the club. Like,
it's just that energy. But
I miss that.
I miss it, but I'm happy to see, like, I think it's forcing DJs to push the envelope to really you know, rely on the skills in the library, you know what I'm saying? So,
exactly.
Because I definitely do see a pattern of, even in a limited capacity, limited venues, that there's still DJs that are getting consistently booked for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's definitely not because they bring their biggest guest list anymore. It's definitely not because they can, you know, they have the best poses with the CO2 anymore. You know, it's because
for real.
You know what I mean? It's because they can set a vibe.
Yeah,
they can maintain a vibe.
It's about the vibe now. It's back to the music again.
Back to the music, man.
You know, it's back to you being a good DJ.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly. And you've you know what's interesting about you specifically, that's something I have very, very little experience in, is radio.
Yeah.
Where that's another place where it's all audio.
Yeah.
You know, it's really people just listening to you,
Yeah.
your song selection, your beat matching. Cause you were spinning live, right?
I was spinning live.
So if you fuck like, did you fuck up live ever? I'm sure you did. But
You know, I didn't fuck up to the point where I got called by the PD.
yeah.
You know, there were a couple of times here and there where I made a couple mistakes.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
might have played the song in the wrong,
Right.
in the wrong, not format, but in the wrong order.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Okay.
and because there's structure to DJing and radio. You know, what I mean, and that's what people don't understand. People are like, oh, the DJ sounds the same. They're playing the same shit every single day. They're playing the same shit every single, hour.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, there's a business behind being in radio.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
radio is a business.
Yep.
You know,
And for those, I said this in the beginning, but he was on 103.3 amp radio,
Yeah.
which at the time hugely popular.
yeah,
How would you describe? Like, I don't want to describe it. It was pop music.
it was
but-
pop. Yeah, it was pop. I would say
Yeah.
it was pop. We did
today's
play hip hop.
hits.
Yeah, we did play hip hop too.
Yep.
But we were allowed to play, at least when we were on, we were allowed to play other remixes
Yeah.
of those songs.
And that's what I fucked with, like, because the DJs you got, so it was you, Tone, and Heck, right?
yeah,
Am I
Heck,
missing anyone?
yep,
Was it just you three?
JD was on there as well.
So when
Um,
I listened to you guys, I love that there was like dope, like that was
Remixes,
cool,
yeah.
because I mean, I'll be honest, I was like, okay, I can kind of predict what's gonna be played,
Mhm.
but at least if there's a cool remix and it's being done a certain way, I'm hearing Tone fucking cut the shit up. And like,
he's a beast.
Yeah, and hearing like the unique remixes that I've never
Yeah.
heard. So I'm like, oh, okay, so there is still a Shazam fact, like where I'm literally Shazam
Yeah,
being like,
yeah.
so like, because that's what I want, and I think because that's kind of what I grew up on, like listen to the radio to hear some shit you never heard of
Yeah,
before,
exactly.
and I think it's definitely moved away from that, where it's now you listen to the radio to hear what you have heard before, and that's kind of the point.
Now you listen to the radio to see what's hot, and to see what you can play at a private event per se.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
Absolutely.
that's because those people are gonna be listening to the radio for the most part.
Right.
And then that playlist is based off of Spotify, off of TikTok, off of Instagram. Like, it's based off of the playlist from the radio is based off of what's hot out there. So there's always someone making a wave when it comes to music. And TikTok has always been it's always been big. Especially for amp, because that's we found a lot
Big
of the
fan base
yeah
of the radio,
Yeah.
right?
yeah like we always found new stuff based on what was hot on TikTok, what was hot on Spotify.
Yeah, which is good. I mean,
Yeah.
you're looking at the right places
Right.
for the music. I know that last time when we did the original recording of this, you described, so if you're going in to do your live set,
Yep.
and the music in which you can choose from, can you explain kind of what you're presented and
Yeah,
kinda
so
how that process goes?
you're given a list of songs that you have to play based on what they're called powers and subpowers.
And about how long are those lists?
Depends on your hour. It could be 2 hour long set. So you're gonna have a list of powers that you're not gonna hear back to back as far as like hours. So you're not gonna hear a Post Malone in this hour and then hear another Post Malone in another hour. You're gonna hear another power. So you may hear Post Malone this hour. You may hear who else is
Like Lizzo or something?
Lizzo on another hour. You know what I mean? Another part of the hour. So there's four power songs, and there were also Subpowers and then Recurrent as well, which is which were songs that were hot at one point.
Right.
Which are people still understand and know and remember what they are. So you go in, you're given a list of songs that you have to hit, and between those you have to fill in.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what percentage is like just what you want to play? Would you say? Like, so let's say hour long set.
And an hour long set, Well, honestly, it's I would say about 25%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have to play the songs in full, especially the powers? Do you
The
have to play it
powers
to
you
their
have to pay.
entirety?
You have to play a lot. You have to play. I think it's at least a minute and a half
Oh,
of the
okay. Yeah,
song.
yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that it can be picked up as you haven't played the
as
song.
a play.
You know, so
I'm
because
getting
that's
it
how
now.
the artist gets
their money.
the credit. You know?
I'm understanding.
You
now.
know, there's a business behind it.
Right, right.
The
It
artist
makes
wants
sense.
to make money. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
the radio's playing the song.
Right.
So there's about a minute and a half you have to play of the power, and you know they want you to play those longer, obviously, because
Right.
it's the hot song of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Hot, you know, they are the hot songs of the moment
Mm-hmm.
that you're gonna hear every single hour.
Right.
Um, and part of the list, part of the songs that I played were also part of the list that I was given. You know, so I can never really like support my homeboy. You know, that you know, who's got a track out right now that's hot. Unfortunately, you know, because it's always it was based on what I was given.
Right.
You know.
And so yeah, couple questions here. So I mean, I think of like I don't know if you've ever heard like, so you know Big Sean.
Yeah.
Like his whole come up story was like he interned at a radio station to get his song played, kind of thing. Kanye was a guest at the station. He rapped for him, kind of thing. I feel like a story like that can't really happen anymore.
Yeah.
In kind of just, you know, the fact that a lot of big, I guess like medium to big market radio stations have commercialized and everything like that. You know, if you have homie who you actually really believe in and you think can be a huge star, it's really, would you say, is nearly impossible in, say, a Boston
You gotta get
market
it approved. You gotta get it approved by, you know, we all have a boss. You know, at the end of the day, you know, and that at that location, Tone was my boss.
Right.
You know, and Tone had a boss.
Right.
And his boss had a boss. So you have to run it up the chain and just make sure that you're able to, you know, get it approved.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were a couple of instances where we were like, oh, you know, I feel like this song may be good. You know, can I play it? You know, and based on the feedback, you know, and based on whether Tone thought that it was a good song or that it fit the radio station, then yeah, he would have approved it or he would have denied it. But you still gotta go through a process. You can't just, you know, you
can't just be throwing tracks.
Nah, man.
Unfortunately,
you know, as much as, and I got hit up a lot. I was like,
oh,
you know,
I'm
like,
sure. Once you find out you're on the radio,
like, you know, like, how can I get the song on the radio? I'm like, you gotta go through the record label, man. Like, that's just how it is. It's just, unfortunately, we're you know, radio is a business, and the record labels are involved, and you know, you gotta go through them.
If a big, like, I'm just talking hypotheticals now. Like, so if, let's say, a Boston artist blows up huge, big time in Boston, they're independent artists, but it is like at the, you know, normal times, every club is playing it, everyone's requesting it. I'm sure that's
that may be a way for the song to be picked up,
where it's like, yo, this is the song in Boston, kind of thing. Yeah,
that may be a song for the radio to pick up.
Okay,
you know, based on how much hype it's gotten. You know, not just locally, but like if you have other stations playing it, or if you're, you know, hot on in Spotify, you're gonna get played. You may have a better chance of getting played.
Right, absolutely.
You know?
It's
about hype.
Yeah. And I mentioned this in our last recording, but like I have Malcolm Xavier, DJ. I think he's PD at his station. I'm not sure, but I know he's up there. Everyone check out Malcolm Xavier. He's a big DJ in DC. And I played with him a few times. He's brought me down. I brought him up here. But from talking to him, I don't know. Like, obviously I'm not in the radio world too much, but you know, at least down there, he's able to break records, especially local records. And for example, Crew by Gold Link, who's a DC guy, I'm pretty sure Malcolm has a plaque, like one of the platinum plaques, because he broke that record apparently.
Yeah, there's you know, New York does that. It's
New York. New York is New York.
Yeah, New York is New York, of course.
But I think, do you think, as someone who's been in it and sees other places like New York, like DC, seeing these examples, do you think the way that even these corporate businesses are approaching radio, do you think it's correct? Do you think it's the way it should be? What do you think could change? What do you think could be better?
I mean, yeah, supporting your local artists is definitely important. And jamming used to do that too, you know.
Yeah,
like jamming
dude.
used to the launch pad. You know, the launch pad on Sundays, you know, like they used to do it.
When I was a kid,
Yeah.
jamming it was so sick. Like and it's crazy, you know, Pop is nice guy.
Yeah.
Super nice guy. Met him every time I met him. Nice guy. And it's crazy because another guy who was, when I was little, oh my God, like I hear this doing the radio, and then again to me, I played with him.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's his fault. Like they commercialized as well.
Yo,
As a full
Pop has a
station.
boss.
You know what I mean? Yeah, Pop
You know?
has a boss. Like, so it's not his fault, but but it's crazy because, like, again, being the outside looking in, seeing how it used to be. I mean, you more so, you know, having a longer career than I have. Like, it just like, I know people got to make their money. I know people have their bosses, but it's like radio is just such a huge platform, as you know.
Yeah.
For shit to really pop off, you know, supporting.
But not
local
anymore,
artists.
though. I mean, like, radio used to be bigger, you know, before TikTok got around, before
Streaming.
Streaming got around, before SoundCloud was around. Like, you know, those are platforms that artists should be utilizing more to get themselves out there.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you know, at the end of the day, everybody wants to be on radio for a particular reason. You know, radio is not going to go away.
It's one of those validation things.
Yeah, look at this.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
this studio is paid for, built by iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
So trashing radio as an iHeartRadio logo
no,
is
we're not
inches from my face.
No, we're not.
Yeah, not
no,
trashing.
Educating the masses about it, man.
Yeah. I mean, I still have, you know, a validation thing for my career is playing on the radio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's still, even if I disagree with it or if I don't like how it's being run, and obviously it's not your fault or Tone's fault or Pup's fault.
Once you get in it, you'll understand that there's a business behind it, that there's structure to it, and you're not going to be able to do just what you want. You know, you got to stick to a particular theme and based on the radio station that you're on. You know, like we were able to play pop and hip hop, but you're not gonna go to a jamming and play pop.
Yeah, right.
As well, you know, you're gonna stick to hip hop.
Yeah.
And R&B. You know, so you know you're not gonna be able to do what you want to do.
Right.
You know, and that's unfortunately a misconception about DJs and on the radio, that we all sound the same, or that we suck, or that we're gonna go out to the club and play the same stuff that's on the radio. That's, you know, that's not really true, man. Like, you know, like I used to venture out of what I used to play on the radio, even though it helped me based on what I knew about music right there and then, to bring that to the club as well. Right. You know. So I knew what the power was. I knew what was hot. Yeah. You know? So that helped me, you know, but it's unfortunately we have to follow a sheet, you know? Yeah. We have to follow the guidelines.
But you've had the privilege, the opportunity to play for other stations and other big shows. So Sirius XM, you've been on with Pitbull's Globalization, which I don't know if it's an if you know kind of thing, but like at least in the DJ community, like that's a pretty big deal.
It is.
It's I mean, you could talk about this better. How many listeners do they get? Like, you know what I mean?
The worldwide.
Yeah,
dude.
huge station.
Like, especially Pitbull's station is huge.
Yeah, and it's Latin vibes, but pop, but hip hop, and like it's everything
hot.
It's like literally,
everything.
It's such, like me personally, when I'm looking for sets to listen to other DJs to listen to, that's one of the go-to places I go to see like what's hot, how they're doing it, the remixes, like, and it's consistently fire. Like, you know, it's I would say it's comparable to like Diplo's Revolution.
While they I love Diplo's Revolution.
Like it's all these like very like if you're looking, I think I just pulled my shit. Sorry. If you're looking for good quality DJs and mixes, like those are places that I go to first.
Exactly. And when it comes to that as well, there's some structure to it as well. There's more freedom for you to do whatever you want, use whatever versions you want. You know, all of it has to be clean, obviously. But they also provide you with a list of songs that are, you know, the powers,
right?
Because they also want you to make sure that those powers are played, because that's what has to be done.
Right.
Satellite radio at the end of the day. You know,
yeah.
like you're still on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know.
And so for, I guess, maybe younger DJs or DJs who haven't had the opportunity to play for a big platform like that, you know, I would love to hear you explain maybe your approach to that, and maybe even what got you there.
Bro, it's all about who you know at the end of the day.
Always.
Networking 101.
Right.
You know, you got to know the right people. You got to, you know, rub the right elbows.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Latin Prince. I've known Latin Prince for a while.
He's not from here, is he?
No, he's not from here. He's from San Fran, actually.
Oh, but
a
lot of people here know him. Like,
because of DJ City, he was stationed. He was not stationed, but he used to live in New York.
Okay.
So he used to run the Northeast regional area of New York for DJ City. You know,
right.
and through, excuse me, through. You know, through connections, you know, like I met him and, you know, got to know him. You know, he's a good friend of mine. You know, Hectic got to know him as well. He got on Sirius. Hectic goes on Sirius every single Sunday. You know, he represents DJ City as well.
Phil, if you slam that damn door again, I swear to God, I'm gonna kill you. Last time I don't know if it picked up, but last time you walked out, you slammed the fuck out of that door. I'm just fucking with you.
So Latin Prince, Danny West, you know, these are people that are running Sirius,
right?
You know, that are in charge of you know, making sure that the vibes are set correctly every single week. You know,
and I mean, not to say that like you're fake or anything but I mean, it's hard not to approach, you know, if you have the opportunity to meet someone like Latin Prince, like to be like, oh yeah, I know if I'm cool with him, it could get me somewhere. Do you find that, you know,
there was not, for me, there was no, I didn't expect anything from him, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, I've always known of him.
Right.
So I've always wanted to meet him,
Mm-hmm.
So I've always wanted to, figure out who this dude was.
Yeah.
What came after just came because we have a friendship,
Mm-hmm.
like it's just, but at the end of the day, it's all about who you know.
Yeah.
I got on radio because of, help. I got help from Heck, and then also because of Tone.
Yeah.
Tone gave me the opportunity to get on radio.
Mm-hmm.
So I got on 96 Power 96 in Miami because of my boy Live It Up.
Yep.
So like it's all about who you know.
Mm-hmm.
And during my travels, I've gotten to meet a lot of people. So it's all about making sure that you maintain those connections.
Yeah.
And it's all about networking.
Yeah, and it's something that DJing is such an ego-driven kind of thing.
It is.
And I suffer from this real bad sometimes where, I'm a friendly guy and I love people. I'm a very social guy, but I can find myself kind of like putting the blinds on the side of my head and like focusing too much on myself and not taking a full opportunity to maybe listen to people and things like that. And especially during COVID, like I found a lot of reflection in myself with that. And so you we all know that networking gets you far, but I think those examples that you're given of just like, maybe it's sometimes worth going out that extra night because someone's going to be like, Latin Prince is going to be in the building. Like you should, be a familiar face. And I think that's just a general tip for young DJs or DJs trying to like make bigger waves or anything like that, that it does require, you putting yourself out there more and shaking more hands and establishing more legitimate relationships.
Yeah, you have to, man. At the end of the day, you have to, and it's not gonna hurt your career,
right?
It's gonna help you expand your career. What if you want to go to Texas and you want to go DJ and you know somebody in Texas?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like what if you want to go to the other side of the country and you want to go DJ and you know somebody in the other side of the country? You gotta be able to expand your reach. It's not just Boston, man. Like there's more to the United States than just Boston and New York.
Yeah.
So we tend to go back and forth, and we're like, oh, we want to DJ in New York. Okay, it's a lot easier to DJ in New York if you know somebody there. So,
what are some of the other states, cities, markets that you've played at notably?
Miami, Cali, New York, Chicago. I used to love Chicago, man.
I feel like Chicago is so fire.
Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Midwest is,
Yeah,
it's
I
crazy.
asked you last time what the biggest party city was, and you said
I would say Minneapolis.
Minneapolis, right?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah, because the venue wasn't huge. It was big enough to fit. It was a retractable roof as well. Like it was, it was fire.
That's so fire.
Yo, it was beautiful, man. And they just partied, yo. I was there for like a night. I flew in, came back to Chicago the next day. Chicago too, man. They just know how to party. They know how to vibe. Because Chicago's always been about music.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and I know we talked about this the last recording, that a place like Chicago, New York, LA, they have music that is specific to them.
Yeah,
because they're producing the great
like
artists
Kanye,
and great music. Yeah, Kanye, Common. I mean, and then even more recent. You have the Chief Keefs. And then you have the Dirks. Like these dudes who were pioneering and moving on that Chicago sound. And then even back in the day, Chicago house.
Right.
I mean, they've always had something, and that's something Boston struggles with a lot, right? Being able to support their local artists and being able to have their own sound. So I can only imagine, I can only imagine being like, say, a Chicago DJ or just anyone from Chicago, and that you have like 5 different artists that bang and that are like. So if you drop any, like that was like Malcolm in DC. If anytime he played Gold Link and he played Crew, like the place, like I've seen videos of him playing it, and the place goes insane because that's their boy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And we have a couple people like the
but Chicago's. I mean, DC's got Go-Go. And it's always been,
they've always had. Yeah, that's true.
They've always had something.
Damn, that's so true. So
what does Boston have? Unfortunately,
Dropkick Murphys,
Aerosmith.
Yeah,
why not? Perhaps that's something we don't acknowledge because we're in the club and we don't play it.
Well, so that's why, obviously, shipping up to Boston is like the St. Patty's Day song here. So I guess we have that moment where when it drops, everyone knows that it's the Boston song.
We have something.
Yeah, I guess
it's just not the genres that that you and I
it's very seasonal.
go to. Yeah,
very seasonal. Yeah. So I get we have it to an extent. It's so shitty. Comparing ours to theirs, we're so shitty.
We can't say that Boston doesn't have anything because it does. And
God damn it. The thing is, there are good artists out there. It's just Boston has this. I mean, really with anything supporting.
But do these artists, when they leave or when they make it big, do they say we're from Boston?
I think it's a double-edged sword where it's like,
or do they move out to LA and say I'm repping LA now?
I think it's a two-way street, double-edged sword where it's like, because Boston didn't support me, now that I made it, why would I? You know what I mean? Because if I produced a song tomorrow and it went number 1, whatever, and no one in Boston supported me and I made it out to wherever, am I gonna be like, oh yeah, Boston? I think this is me sitting here now being like, I would. I love being from Boston, but it's hard to show love to a place that never showed love to you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
So I guess in some instances, because I think Joyner Lucas dealt with that a little bit. So he's from Worcester, tried to claim Boston during his come up. Now that he made it, is like, fuck Boston. So I think he's a good example of that.
Yeah.
Stiz is another guy, but I don't know. He's quieter, so I don't really know if he's repping too heavy. Yeah. But I mean, we're making some noise. I mean, I know a few people. I know a singer, Becca Zama, she's Haitian, does a lot of regional music, but she's super popular. She actually recently did a track on Super Smash Brothers album that they just released, that they produced and everything like that. Had a lot of local artists on there. I know Real P manages Nazi Janae, who's local. So I know there's talent around, and from what I can see, they get a lot of support from the local community. It's just really just trying to see them break and see what happens from there.
And I actually just Googled Bia, 'Cause she's
Bia. Oh my God, yeah.
she's
Does
from
she-
Medford, dog.
Yeah.
Yo,
It's
like,
I was just
bro.
having this conversation with who the fuck was I having this I think I was having this conversation with my little sister because we were listening to some record that Bia was on and murdering it, and I was like, "Yo, you know she's." I was telling my little sister, "I'm like, yo, you know she's from Boston." She goes, "No, I go fucking Google it." She said, "Oh, yo, she's from Medford," but I don't know if.
But I don't know
really
if they
be repping,
you know,
like that. But shout out Papa Don, who's her
Papa Don
tour DJ.
Yeah. Great DJ, yeah.
But dude, Papa Don's filthy.
Yeah.
Every time, so it's funny because in the earlys I was like opening for him, and another guy who I was like, oh, I wanna, you know, be where he's at and everything like that. And then we were like headlining together. We would go back to back, and it was super nice guy. There was a couple times where,
and these are different types of DJs, yo.
All of them different.
Different types of DJs. You got DJs that tour.
Yeah.
You got DJs that do radio.
Yeah.
You know, you got DJs that do clubs. DJs that focus on private events.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
different types of genres of DJs, I guess.
And that's the thing that people don't realize, right? Like there really are genres of DJs.
Yeah.
You're someone that hits a lot of them.
I try, man, because you know why are you gonna just be one type?
I
haven't toured. That's if I get the opportunity, I guess I will. You know, if I had to do it all over again, I guess I would be a tour DJ. I would be a DJ that not only a tour DJ, but I would have traveled more, you know, and not just focused on being and staying in Boston. But I would have wanted to travel more of the country, you know, of the world, you know, and you know, I would have built my brand much bigger than what it is, you know.
Would you have done that through like another artist, like kind of riding through their tour like team, or would you try to have done that by yourself, do you think? Maybe through
depends on the opportunity, yeah. You know, it depends on the opportunity, you know. If the opportunity presents itself that an artist needs me to go on tour with him or her, you know,
shout out Bia
or her, then of course,
yeah.
Then I would have done that.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
But if I had gotten the chance to get booked outside of Boston more and outside of New England more, then I would have taken that. You know,
one of the questions I had that was given to me by another DJ actually was, how does one bridge the industry and be successful in multiple aspects of it? Kind of what we were saying. So specifically with you, clubs to radio to weddings and private events. I mean, I think you're, explaining that well. Is there anything else specifically within that question that maybe you'd like to add? Any tips, any kind of just experience gems?
Oof, that's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question.
How do you bridge all that?
Well, I mean, because again,
that's a lot.
We know that, I mean, like you're saying, there's genres, and some DJs stick to one genre and they kill it, and they're the guy in that genre. But I think a lot of people wish they could do everything, or as many as they can.
By building yourself and building your brand and the amount of time that you put into yourself, you got to be able to put it back out into the industry, you know. So I think that in order to bridge all of those, you got to be a well-rounded DJ. You know, you can't be just a DJ that plays hip hop and expects to go DJ a wedding where they want you to play 70s and 80s.
Yep.
You know, you got to be a well-rounded DJ to be able to bridge all of those. You know, if you're gonna go tour with an artist, you got to be able to work the crowd that's in front of you.
Right.
You know, to hype the crowd for the artists. So you gotta, that's part of being a well-rounded DJ.
Yep.
You know, if you want to be a radio DJ, you gotta know that you gotta stick to a particular.
Yeah. And you gotta be super clean.
Yeah, you gotta be super clean. You can mess up. You cannot mess up.
But you can't like over scratch.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If your style is scratching like crazy, like then all of a sudden you might not be the best fit for radio.
Right. Exactly. Just be a well-rounded DJ. Just invest time in yourself in order to be able to bridge all of those. You know. And
with bridging all of that, absolutely. With bridging all of that and having such a long career as you have, how do you remain motivated, and how often and how are you setting those new goals?
I love music, man. You know, I'm always working on a new project. You know, I'm working on a couple of other projects right now. You know, mixes and you know, DJing on an app.
Is that with
Boston
Castaneda?
Caliente?
Yeah.
Boston
That's dope.
Caliente.
Dope.
So there's a niche market in Boston, which is the Latin market, which is not tapped into. Like, so we're trying to tap into that market based on this particular app. So, and in order to do that, you got to be able to build it. Build it with the music, the great music, and attract the people to it. So that's what they're trying to do. Castaneda, Rico, shout out to those guys.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity to maybe just chat that out and elaborate. I mean, so just from outside looking in, so is Castaneda like spearheading that? Or
he's one of the people that's spearheading that.
So so kind of as you were saying, so an app that local talent, right? Local Boston DJs being able to present Latin music to that niche market that you're explaining. And it's funny because I was in our bottle service episode, we were talking about how the Latin market, while there's so many Latinos in Boston and Massachusetts, it's like all bottlenecked or was in the North Shore. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, we were like, why? Why?
You're right.
I'm meeting like these like Latina girls who are like, whatever. And they're like, yeah, we're driving 40, 50 minutes to fucking, to go party. Like, cause this is the only place I can find our music. And I'm like thinking about it and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Why?
Yeah.
And then I think about it and I'm like, yeah, cause there's not that many options. And that's why, Ritmo, the Ritmo was huge. Right?
Ritmo was huge, bro.
It was going to be the thing,
And then COVID happened.
Fucking COVID. So that's dope that they're doing that. And so is that going to be? That's an app that's going to be like free.
It's an app. It's on the App Store for both Android and iPhone.
Dope.
Apple. Yeah. It's available to download. There's Latin music being played 24/7. It's
a station.
It's a station, and they have mixes throughout the day, and they have music that's playing when there's no mixing going on.
Right. Okay. I hear you.
So,
Damn, that's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone check that out. Boston Caliente, right?
Yeah. Boston Caliente.
Everyone check that out. Yep. I know there's a bunch of white guys trying to date these Latina girls. So if you're trying to get that homework up, you know where to hit up Boston Caliente, yo.
You gotta know what's hot.
You gotta know it's hot.
Because you gotta know when Bad Bunny drops that new track that they want to hear.
You gotta know because just taking them to the local taqueria and stuff isn't enough these days, bro. You gotta be talking in the same wavelength as them.
Yo, that new Bad Bunny, yo. You gotta know it.
Yeah, just a couple name drops, a couple song drops, and you're good. That's awesome though. And so projects keeping your
keeping myself busy with I am downloading less music, like you said, you know, but like I'm in Manchester. Manchester is at Whiskey's 20.
Yep, Manchester.
Yeah, Manchester.
When are you there?
Saturday.
Oh, dope. I'm there.
Yeah.
Next Friday.
Next Friday?
Yeah.
So I'm there Saturday.
Have you played there before?
No, I haven't played there before.
Yeah, I haven't played there either. No. I mean, I played Manchester for Halloween.
Yeah.
Pretty loose out there.
Yeah.
It's all.
Wear that mask.
I was happy because at the spot that I played at, I was on like a stage that was like 20, 30 feet from the thing.
Get out of it. Get away from me.
Yeah. So I was good. Like I was like, yo, I'm actually like I'm more safe than someone who's just
on the floor.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But I think I've never been to Whiskey. I think it's a little bit more intimate. I'm not sure. But we're blessed to be able to get the call to be able to do something we like.
Yep. Shout out to Riz.
Shout out to
Riz. 235 Entertainment.
Shout out Riz.
For real. Thank you.
Yeah, Riz putting on all the Boston DJs out there. Yeah. I mean, I heard the New Hampshire DJ is
man.
But Riz doing what he has to do to make the bread. He knows what time it is. He knows who to call.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm excited. I mean, how do you feel? What is this your first club gig,
I guess, since
COVID?
Yeah, since COVID. And my last one was Tunnel.
Wow.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
How do you feel?
I feel excited, man. Yeah. I just get to rock in front of a crowd. I got to give them, what they want. Figure out what they want.
Yeah. It's because and that's the thing. We don't know.
I don't
even think they know. and that's the thing. Like, are you playing what was hot when COVID started? Like the thing that like we didn't get to experience yet? Or are you just trying to guess just based on maybe charts or whatever that this is what
tune
people...
in next time.
You know what I mean?
To find out.
That's the question.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's the shit that people don't think about.
I don't know, bro. I'll definitely hit the charts.
Yeah.
I'll definitely hit, Shazam, the charts. Check out the Shazam charts, Spotify charts. I'll do my homework, because there's always one song that's outplaying that you gotta have.
Yeah, you gotta have. Yeah.
I'll ask, my boys who've been there already, like, what's hot? What was hot there? What about you? What are you gonna do?
Yeah. So, yeah, I've been doing a lot of chart searching, and I've been keeping my ear to TikTok as much as I can. I hate half of the shit that gets popping there, but like it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been playing a lot of like the brunchy stuff and the day stuff. So like I haven't been too away from it, and I'm hearing I'm still getting requests. So like there's the requests I get, I'm like, yo, I deadass did not know this song, and then I would search it, and it's like 1 million views on YouTube, like, and it's something that I just missed. Like it's just, there's always those songs that aren't on any charts but are still super popping. And so I think I'm good, but at the same time, I think it's a weird balance of kind of like what I was saying earlier. Like there's a whole like crate, let's say, of songs that were just getting popping at the time that COVID happened that we didn't get to. Like I think Safed is a perfect one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like I have to, like, it's considered maybe an old song now, but we didn't get to live it really. Just bad timing.
A lot of the songs just didn't get air. I mean, they got airplay, but you just.
But people didn't experience it in a party. Play. Yeah, you didn't get club play. I think Laugh Now, Cry Later by Drake didn't get any club play, for example. So like songs that people are well digested by now, but when you think about it, they didn't get to dance to it and party to it.
We're gonna have to do homework, man.
It's a weird time where it's this weird consideration where we can't be like, oh yeah, last week I tried this and it worked or it didn't. This week adjust. You know what I mean?
And know the crowd that's in front of you.
Yeah.
Read the crowd. If the crowd doesn't like what you're playing, just change it.
Yeah. You were talking about like the charts and stuff. Have you heard much about BeatSource?
Yeah.
Have you looked into it, or do you have it?
I had it for a little while. I tried it out.
You tried like Link and stuff?
Yeah.
How so for those who don't know, nerdy DJ shit. So BeatSource is a record pool.
Yep.
DJs big question that we get actually is, how do you get your music? We use record pools for the most part. So they're basically these libraries that are specific to DJs. Some are specific to genres, and they have edits and they have remixes and the hot songs, blah 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 blah. Subscription based usually. BeatSource is it's not necessarily new. It's newer.
It's newer.
But the thing with BeatSource is their playlists are like to the nines. They've designated world-renowned DJs to folk. Like, so if, I know they have like the world-renowned Nigerian DJs for the Afrobeat playlist specifically, for example. But their big thing recently is BeatSource Link, which allows you to stream while you're DJing. Yeah. So basically, so you don't need to necessarily download the records, but you can use BeatSource as a library to stream the record on.
Just need Wi-Fi. That's it.
Yeah, you just need the Wi-Fi. So if someone does come up to you and says, "Hey, play X and Y Z song that you've never heard of," you can search it, you can find it, you can get it and play.
It works.
And it works.
Yeah,
so
it works pretty well.
So I've been considering getting it and paying for it, and it's so weird. Like, you're like, why would I get it when I'm not really DJing?
You can try it for 30 days for free anyway, so you can try that out, see how it works.
Yeah, so tell me your experience about it. I'd love to know.
It was great actually, man. Like I honestly didn't get to use it at any events, live events, unfortunately. But the minute you load the song, it's right on your Serato. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
And you can do an offline mode where you prepare your playlist beforehand. So if you know you're not going to have Wi-Fi wherever you're going, you prepare your playlist before, and then you're going to have that playlist available to you offline. So you're not going to have access to the rest of the library, unfortunately, but you'll have access to.
But if you're like, I think the example I was thinking of a lot was like, let's just use Afrobeat as the example. So if you're not strong in Afrobeat and you know you're going to jump into an Afrobeat heavy night, you might just quickly go into the pre-made Afrobeat playlist that they have there.
Yeah.
Download, like just because they're made for you. Like you don't.
It'll be available to you,
and it's
as long as you
available
have
to you.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Like you'll be able to load the song without.
Yeah.
Any,
So
any
if you're
problems.
like, oh, maybe didn't have the
Yeah.
time this week to really figure it out. Here's the playlist that they already have. Chances are it's going to be a great fucking playlist because another DJ made it, and you're in, and you're like,
we got mad lazy, yeah. So you got some other people just doing the work.
I mean, it's interesting to see where the tech is going.
Yeah.
I mean, this becomes, you know, we talk about being multifaceted and being versed in other genres. I mean, and that's a good way to get started, right?
Yeah.
If you really have no idea where, you know, where this music, you know, it takes the extra research to find out the deep cuts, right? That if you know, you know joints,
right?
But at least you get started, you know, and understanding,
yeah.
you know, and I think that's important because I know that once I started getting into like the urban nights, like soca was something I never really knew about.
Yeah.
And it was, and I just fucking learned as much as I could. And once I started realizing, you know, such a big Haitian community in Boston, like I hit up my Haitian friends. I'm like, give me the shit your mom played, because I want to be the guy that like I'm not Haitian, but I got the joints.
I got the
you
music.
Know what I mean? So I think it's a great place to start. I think the streaming aspect is like mind blowing. I think if
think about it as you know, if you've ever tried going to an event and try using Spotify,
right?
You know, you resorted to Spotify and you were like, oh, I wish Spotify was linked to Serato.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what they did, because they have all the music from a lot of freaking years back, man.
Yeah,
you know, like
it's wild.
Yeah, 1960s, 70s. Like you're gonna find
yeah.
everything in there.
I was poking through the crates that they had, like the place they had, and I was like, yo, this shit's deep. Yeah, because there's like I said, there's some record pools that only hip hop or only whatever. Yeah. This shit was deep. Yeah. It's what, from what I could see, it looked amazing, and I'm thinking of probably of hopping in, at least trying the 30-day trial and just seeing how well it integrates. I was mostly curious of how well it integrates.
It does. It's pretty well integrated. Yeah. So I recommend it. You know, try it out, see how it works out for you.
This is the shit that gets like DJs like super hot.
So so one question for you. Pioneer dropped mixers.
The S11?
S11s. What do you think?
Oh, okay. Super nerdy DJ shit. Just gotta bear with us, guys. So I think the S9.
Yeah.
Best mixer like ever. Well, for my style, our open format DJs.
100%.
The things I can do with it, like it's expanded my brain tenfold. What I can do with it. I was never super into, because what was it? The Rain. The Rain mixer that already had the
was it the 909? Yeah.
That had the screen on it.
Yeah.
I can just Google it. I have a whole computer. I have a $2,000 computer in front of me. I should probably use it.
No, it wasn't the Rain. It was a Pioneer.
No. Rain.
Pioneer had the 72. Sorry.
72. That's what it is. So I used it once, and it was obviously the new shiny object. So the thing about this mixer, for those who don't know, it has a screen, and it might be touchscreen, in the middle of the mixer that shows the waveforms of the music. So you're able to so you have it in front of you with the computer, you have it on the mixer. I think it's an overkill. Like, I think if you can see it on the computer, like, why do you need to see it twice? People make the argument, oh, you don't have to switch, nod your head up and down. But I'm like, okay, but
now you just focus.
But now you're not focused on the people.
Right.
That's my argument. But the thing about the 72, when I use it, it was mine lagged, or the one that I was using lagged. And I was like, yo, this is why this is stupid.
Yeah.
But with the S11, so the S11 is basically incorporating the same technology with the already amazing S9. And it incorporated the screen along with other features of like having the multi channel,
right,
where you can use the screen to play like 4 records at the same time if you wanted to. I mean, most of the DJs in Boston aren't good enough to do that, but it's there if you want to figure it out. But it's super sick. I've seen like DJ Puffy do breakdowns with it. Yeah. It's like, it seems, I'm not gonna lie, his video was kind of selling me on it, but I think the whole multi-screen while DJ, it's an overkill. But I'm sure I say that
we're gonna be able to utilize well enough, you think?
I think battle DJs, I think 3-style DJs are going to use the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
I think a majority of DJs who, I mean, like, let's be real, like, a lot of DJs, especially locally, they just play a track. play a track. They're not doing the acapella.
Yeah.
Changing the key to fit the whatever with the intro with the what, like they're not doing. They're just not.
Right.
And so that's why when I'm like, I see certain DJs who have the like who got the S11, I'm like, bro, you're not gonna use this shit.
Yeah.
Like you're wasting your money. Like I know I've seen you play. You're not using this. I'm just being honest. You know what I mean? And
You tell them that too?
I mean I haven't seen them, but I don't know. Like I just think it's funny.
Yeah.
Like and that's why I think with something like this, I'm like, it's kind of an overkill. At the same time, I still haven't used it yet. I'm sure once I use it and I realize what it can do and what I can do with it, I'm sure I'll change my opinion. It's super sick. I think it's an interesting direction that the technology is going to. I saw a DJ share on Facebook, basically the SRT with the screen, and that's like the next thing. And I was like, okay, I see where this is going.
That was photoshopped, yo. I'm
sure that's where they're going. Because that's usually, if you look back at Pioneer equipment, they introduce one thing and then it's on everything, like the buttons.
That's true.
You know, so I'm sure that's the direction.
I like that. I would definitely use that.
Yeah,
100%.
I think it's cool. I
think that Pioneer dropped it in the wrong time. Like
we're
out of work.
Well,
who's gonna buy it?
Well, I think. Like I said, I think the super talented, super creative streaming DJ will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true.
To take their streaming to the next level, for example. In a way, wrong time, in a way, perfect time.
I guess they had to drop it regardless of when it was going to happen.
I mean, COVID's this shit's probably going to be another year.
Yeah.
So like, when is the right time? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
But overall, it's cool. It's expensive. I can't afford it.
Nerd alert.
You know what I mean? But it's what I have been enjoying is seeing how the worldwide champion DJs have been using it, and the ideas that come out of it I think that are really, really sweet. Do you have any intention of getting it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you have a S9 at home.
I have an S9 and I have a 762 at home.
Yeah.
So not really.
Yeah.
Not really. I don't see myself utilizing the screen for everything that it brings.
Right.
It's
a lot. I mean, and it's one of those things that if you can master it, like it will take your sets and your skill to the next level.
Yeah.
I would love to try it. But in terms of like paying $2K for it to have it in my room, like I don't think it's worth it for me.
That's a lot of money, bro.
It's a lot of money, man.
We ain't rich no more. It's like, nah.
Triggered. Yeah, beautiful shit. I mean, I love the nerdy shit. I don't want to bore the people too much. That's all right. But,
what other questions you got?
I mean,
because I know there's.
Yeah, I got a couple more. Just in general, like regrets. I know you mentioned not touring and
not
traveling enough.
not traveling enough. Not being able to do that. Other than that, I don't have any regrets, to be honest.
No regrets.
No regrets. No regrets.
I've asked a lot of the other industry folk this question. Retiring, hanging it up.
When is
that
time to go, I'll find out, man. Because the minute that the bookings stop coming in is when you gotta start thinking about that. And I'm not just talking about club gigs, because club gigs is one genre,
right?
Or one aspect of DJing, because you still got corporate events, you still got weddings.
People are always getting married.
Dude. They're always gonna. I know very successful guys. Super Duke.
Yeah.
Doesn't really focus too much on doing clubs, and when he does them well. Like.
Yep.
And when the club when the gigs stop coming in. Yeah. I'd say.
I think.
Or when I find something else that takes my time more than DJing.
You've done this shit for 25 years. That's just not gonna happen.
I would say that.
I think it's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
When the door stops knocking.
Yeah. Much like anything else, man. When it's time to hang it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I asked myself that question. Like.
Yeah. What about you? I mean, you just started kind of. 7 years. 7 years.
I think. Yeah. I think I'm going to be one of those guys that why if people are gonna pay me to do what I really like doing, why would I not do it? So I think it's definitely gonna be when the door stops knocking.
You think you think COVID pretty much killed some careers?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely wiped out some DJs.
Unfortunately.
No, absolutely. Like
Yeah.
it's as saturated as the market can be.
Yeah.
I love being able to sit down with another DJ and just nerd out, just kind of like
Yeah,
how we were. Like
100%.
I love that shit, and but I do think it's. And to a lot of things that we spoke about, that maybe they put their eggs in one basket, or they didn't think to be as multifaceted as they should have. They didn't study the other genres to be able to be, they didn't network enough. You know what I mean? I think it's due to a lot of things.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the DJs that maybe took that extra step or put that extra thought into it are the ones that will survive something like this.
Yeah.
But that goes within any industry. The entrepreneur that didn't plan XYZ correctly, that's going to now lose their business or whatever. You can apply it to anything.
Yeah.
But absolutely, I think unfortunately, it's
sucks.
COVID's going
Sucks
to
to
be
see
taking
it.
a couple more COVID casualties.
Yeah.
But
Jeez.
yeah,
I know.
The alliteration with viruses. Is there anything else that you want to shout out, that you want to touch upon? I mean, we
talked a lot.
We talked a lot, man. And this one, the good thing about recording twice is like we cut out a lot of the fat of like the other recording, which was a dope conversation. But this one was
definitely.
I like this one a lot better.
Yeah.
Anything else?
It was more structured.
More structured. Yeah. In episode 6, baby, because I think you're supposed to be episode 3.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
So.
And I got the calls like, oh yo.
Technical difficulties.
So mad, technical difficulties, man.
Oh God, I was so mad. But it's a shout out Ado, shout out Phil, the beautiful producers. We love you guys.
Yes.
As like I said, as DJs know best, sometimes hardware and software and technology.
We all gotta get together and have a conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, facts, man. COVID times.
Yeah.
But anything else you want to plug, mention? Any gems? Any just words of affirmation?
Bro, not really.
We said
we said a lot, man. I hope that people find this information useful, and hopefully they start, DJs start thinking about the future. Don't just think that because things are gonna open up that you're gonna be good. Think about having a backup plan.
God damn it.
No, I'm sorry.
No,
I don't mean to be bleak.
Right. No, you're 1,000% right.
Just think about having a backup plan.
Yeah.
Always have a backup plan. I guess my backup plan was my day job, and I've always had that. So, and I managed to do the career on, have a DJ career on the side as well.
Yep.
But just have a backup plan, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know when this may happen again.
Right.
And if it doesn't, then you have a nice little nest egg, to to tap into, to go on a nice vacation or whatever, to buy, something nice for yourself 5 years down the road. Just think about it like that. Like that money, we will get back to work. We are going to get back to work.
Love it. You hear the affirmation in that, the confidence in that statement. I fucking love it.
We will. Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's inevitable. This thing will end.
Yo, I'm shaking right now. This is beautiful.
But until then, think about a backup plan that you gotta have.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. Where can people find you online?
Online.
Where can they connect with you?
Mixcloud at DJ Case Boston. Instagram at DJ Case Boston, Twitter at DJ Case, Facebook at DJ Case Boston.
Love it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Please hit up DJ Case.
Thank you, man.
If any questions, if you want him to elaborate with anything, I know you talked a lot, just a lot of gems, a lot of advice. Feel free to hit him up. If you want to book him,
If
you want to book him, hit him up.
Go through Ado, Yo, there you go. Hit up the manager.
Hit up the manager, Ado. And as always, I'm Snacks, your beautiful host.
Yes. Yo, I got a question real quick.
Uh-oh.
How does Snacks come about? What does the name represent?
It represents fucking nothing, dude.
How?
A sham.
Like, I want to know. I want to know
sham. What. Don't look at me. No one look at me.
How did you come up with Snacks?
Dude, honestly, it was it was out of necessity. So
Okay.
I was like going kind of no name for a while.
Okay.
And
Did you no name?
No.
Oh.
Like I just didn't have like I just didn't really. I wasn't established enough to have a name. Let's say.
Okay.
I was just playing stupid like parties and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I got my first like actual gig, and the flyer literally said DJ my first and last name, because I didn't have a name, and I was like, oh, I was like, this look like they sent me the flyer. I was like, oh my god, like I just didn't think about. I didn't have a logo. Blah blah blah. blah.
Should have thought about it like I'm a producer, you know. So I got my
first and last name. The thing is, my real name isn't cool enough.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm not Ryan Nichols out here. No, he has a sick name.
You're right.
His birth name is just a good, solid name. Shout out Ryan,
true.
my guy Ryan.
Yeah.
Has a great song out right now.
Yes,
Actually.
yes.
Everyone check out Ryan Nichols. And so so they literally like emailed me the flyer. And they were like, okay, any edits, let us know, because we're ready to throw this all over the internet, whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was literally like, I remember sitting there and being like, okay, I want something short and sweet.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking about like other DJs that I knew, famous DJs, and I was like, short and sweet seems like the way to go. I like to eat. A lot of people know I like to eat. That's kind of my thing. And the thing was I have time to change it later.
Okay.
That's what I said to myself.
Yeah.
I was like, snacks, fuck it.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
But the thing is,
it works well.
Everything happened too fast.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, now people like, because then I came back the next week, and then the next week, and then the name was a thing at that point. People were starting to call me it, and then, but it's funny because DJ Snake was on Hot Ones.
Yeah.
The interview show, and he was saying how much he hated his name. And I think DJ Snake is a sick name.
Yeah, it actually is.
And I was like, I kind of hate my name too. Like now that I'm like stuck with it.
You don't hate your name now, do you?
Well, okay. The hardest part was coming up when I was still like no one knew me, and so like people were like, oh, like what's your DJ name? And I'll be like, Snacks. What? And so that
You're proud of it, man. Come on, bro.
It was at that point where I was like, fuck. But now it's like.
Snacks.
Like Shody's be like, Snacks, like what's up?
Yeah. There you go. See?
well, I mean, a lot of it was the marketing, like making the whole freight, like they give me snacks, baby, like making like the pizza stuff. Like I had to do a lot with it. So I got it to a point where now I love it. People love it. Yeah. But there's it's like, hey, I'm this rapper. I really want you to listen to my mixtape. Oh, what's your name? 50 Cent. What? Like your name is like change? Like, but then he becomes 50 Cent. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's all perspective. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I was like explaining it to people. And
keep building the brand, man.
Yeah, it's all about the brand.
You know, I like
you have a clean, like safe name. Like
Case. Yeah, it was my name is neutral.
Yeah, it's neutral.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I thought about
when
I was thinking about my name. I was like, I need to come up with something that's neutral that I'm gonna be able to put if I talk to somebody who's doing a corporate event, what's your DJ?
Right. Yeah, so that's the thing I deal with sometimes.
It's not
where they're like,
Killer Case, it's Case,
right,
it's neutral.
That's stuff that I kind of deal with now, like getting older and like doing like the more corporate stuff. But they're usually like, I guess cool. I mean, I don't know. I guess I let like the music do the talking kind of thing. But like, there's a moments where I'm like, I wish. Again, it's like I wish I had a more neutral name sometimes.
Nah, man. Snacks is fine. Nothing wrong with it.
That's because like.
Nothing wrong with it, bro.
You know what I mean?
Huh?
It's because of like what you know now, though. Like I developed it enough where you're like,
that's true.
If I just met you, you'd be like, ugh. You know what I mean?
Nah, bro.
But so like that's why like it's funny because like I'll be like, oh, that's like I'll like hear of like a new DJ, for example, and I'll be like, oh, that's a stupid name, and people just look at me and they be like, really, bro? And I'm like, fuck, you're right. I can't really talk.
But when I first heard Snacks, I was like, Snacks. It kind of makes you think like. Okay, Snacks. What is that? Who is this dude? Like
word.
Yeah. So
okay.
Think about it like that, bro. Like Snacks. Snacks.
Let's get it.
All right.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Well, thank you for having me, man.
Yo, always a pleasure. Thank you for
it.
coming again, man. I know I hate wasting people's time.
Nah,
I'm happy you came by again. Amazing conversation.
No time wasted, man.
Love it, man. Appreciate it.
Deserve.
Everybody, again, follow at DJ Case Boston.
Thank you.
On pretty much everything. Follow me, your host, at Gimme Snacks.
Yes.
Follow Dope Entertainment Official. Follow But I Know the DJ on Instagram. Share this with all your friends. And we'll see you next time. DJ Case, thank you. Woo. Good night, everybody.